Welcome along to another edition of Friday Forum Live, coming to you from Point Blank here in Hoxton, East London. So this week's edition of Friday Forum features a very special remix tutorial from one of the key players in the world of techno, Mr. Troy Pierce. As a member of the Items and Things collective, Troy works alongside Magda and Mark Huell to run the much respected label that not only releases high quality and forward-thinking tunes, but also hosts parties and events all over the world. On top of all this, Troy is also a very nice guy, as we recently discovered when he popped into Point Blank for a chat and a catch-up with our own Marcus Barnes. So, as I said, today's Friday Forum features the exclusive tutorial from Troy, in which he will be giving us a behind-the-scenes look at his forthcoming remix on the French label Get the Curse. Just before we get into the session with Troy that he has recorded for us in Berlin, we're going to get to see a bit of a catch-up of Marcus chatting to Troy about the remix and about things in general with Ableton Live. So, just before we get into that, also a reminder that it is your chance to get involved, so make sure you do post any comments, any questions up in the chat room, and Troy will be going through them to take one or two of the best ones to answer and possibly even follow up with another video tutorial. Also, if you do want to learn more about Point Blank, about music production, about remixing or Ableton Live, then head over to pointblankonline.net and check out the full range of courses we offer. So that's probably enough from me. Right now I'm going to hand you over to Troy and Marcus with the pre-recorded tutorial from Berlin. So over to those guys.
Troy Pierce, nice to have you here.
Hi, hey, nice to be here,
Thanks for coming, man. So before we get into you breaking down this project, can you just give me a little bit of background about what the track is and the label that's coming out on?
Okay, it's a track from Thomas More, and the label is based in Paris. It's Get the Curse, so Clement Meyer and Thomas More.
It's a good label, that.
And Thomas releases on Items and Things frequently, and so he asked me to do a remix for this track, and we thought about doing it as a Louderback remix.
Oh yeah,
so
okay.
Louderback is my partner, Gibby Miller, who lives in Los Angeles, and we kind of approached this as a remix, but also kind of a cover.
Okay.
So
cool.
we took Thomas's his lyrics and kind of put I don't know, our Louderback
spin on
pixie it. Dust on on his lyrics. So yeah, that's how it started.
Nice one. And so you said earlier that you selected this project because there's a few different areas that you can cover of interests.
Yeah, I think this is a good example of how I work in my studio, which is based around Ableton, but also a lot of hardware and a lot of analog gear, and just kind of putting those two. I thought it was interesting. Maybe it's not. I thought it was interesting to put those two worlds together and how you can work inside Ableton, but also use this analog gear and then record back in to Ableton and twist it again with Ableton's effects and Ableton, the way you can change the clips and the samples and the editing that you can do. For me, it's really flexible and intuitive, and I record a lot of stuff. That's one thing that I wanted to stress. Record, like effects. I'm recording stuff all the time, even if it seems silly, because dumb stuff happens accidentally, and it's genius, and you're never going to go, oh wait, how was that going with the snare and the feedback of the thing? Because I'm using a lot of hardware and a lot of outboard stuff, so I just record everything back in separate channels, and then I have that to play with, and you'll see a couple of really long clips that, I mean, they're 4, 5, or 6 minutes long of it's just messing around. But that's where unique things come from,
totally.
and then finding ways to put them back into the remix. And I think it makes it, that's how you kind of, at least for me, that's how I found more of a unique voice and kind of use that to put my, not signature, but put my sound on the stuff that I do, and because no one no one has the setup that I have set up in the way that I have it, you know, and everyone can do that with their own with their own setup.
It really plays to your advantage in sort of creating your own kind of musical identity, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, even if you just have a little guitar effects delay, you know, a little guitar pedal and some kind of reverb, you can do really cool stuff, and no one else has the routing that you do, you know. It's like it's your voice on it, so it's kind of my studio. I mean, it's a little bit cheesy, but my studio is my instrument of you know, where I get the sounds from, not only from the synthesizers themselves, but from the sounds that come in and out of the mixer and back into Ableton and all that stuff.
So let's get into it, man.
Okay. Yeah, so the first steps, I guess you have to at least like the track that you're going to be remixing. That's always important. I kind of never have accepted a remix of a track that I didn't like, just because part of my process is like listening to parts on repeat for days, and if you don't at least like elements of the track, you're going to totally lose your mind. Yeah, so like the track, that's a good first step. And then, I guess when you get the pieces, the parts for the remix, and they come in different forms, of course. I've done remixes for some people where I've gotten, I don't know, let's say 80 stems or something super crazy, and then I've done other remixes where I've gotten just the original wave file. There were no stems. There was nothing separated. So yeah, look at what you've got. Look at how you've got it, and then start breaking the elements apart is what I usually do. For this remix, I like the track a lot from Thomas, so it was easy to find stuff that I liked. He uses a lot of different melodic elements, and there are also some voices in this, so we kind of looked at it. We looked at this as kind of almost a cover, because we kind of redid the vocals, but I'll talk about that later. So yeah, I found a few of his parts that I really liked. This synth line here, there's a bunch of different versions of it. And I kind of go through and just pick the bits that, I don't know, I think I can work with or kind of speak to me. So let's see. I'm not sure what I did to this one, but here's one of them. Thomas uses a lot of these, I don't know, not cartoony, but dreamy little fun melodies that you can do cool stuff with. So in this particular sample, Ableton, let's loop this here. Here in the clip view that you can see here, Ableton has this, I don't know, like technically what it is, resampling, I don't know, but you can change the rate at which it plays back the audio file. So the original kind of sounds like that, and yeah, what I did is with this great Ableton effect, reduce it down, and it kind of creates this arpeggiated melody that retains the original, but kind of changes it in a way, which is something that I personally always struggle with, is like trying to find the balance of putting your sound on the remix and keeping recognizable elements so you can say, hey, that's a remix of such and such track. And I think the successful remixes are really those that capture the original and then put it in a new context. Those are the ones that I like, that I think that are cool. So yeah, so that was one element that we took, which is this melody. And then there's another part that I really liked from his original, that were these toms. So this tom melody, I'm calling it, I don't know if it's toms, but I thought it was, it really stood out as something catchy for me when I listened to the original version. So what I did, from the last example, I kind of changed his sample. But for this one, I wanted to keep that that rhythm, but kind of put my signature on it. So, not my signature, whatever, but remake it kind of. So what I did, I just kind of reprogrammed my 808 to play that melody. It's not so complex, but so then you have that kind of like tough 808 tom thing happening that when it goes together kind of keeps that same underlying rhythm of the track, but then adds a little bit of a twist to make it sound like something that I would do. But that's kind of how I start things off. You get your parts or get your track or whatever you're getting, and identify the pieces that you want to pull from and use those as your source material, kind of. And I do a lot of fiddling around. I mean, I listen to stuff kind of over and over and over and over and over and over again, but that process is where different solutions come from, and I think that's really important. And when I'm doing that, stop this for a second. When I'm doing that, once I've gotten a few of the elements that I like and I think I can use, I start messing around with my own sounds and my own equipment here in the studio. So this clip here is something that I recorded, and this happened just from playing, the few clips that I picked from Thomas's original. Let's see, there's a long part. But it was just kind of playing off of his original melodies, and I record, and I can't stress this enough. I record a lot, meaning just press record, and you play around with things, and you get unexpected results that you can't go back and automate. You can't go back and let's do this part again. It's always something, at least for the way I work. It's something that keeps the spontaneity in the music and in the sounds that you choose. And as this thing plays, which it's super long. I don't know how long. Let's see. 220. It's like 15 minutes of a recording that I did I think this was from the Moog iPad app, which is amazing. And I just record the audio and play around with it, and then I always go back and kind of find those moments that are cool. I hope. What's the goal? And then you kind of can fit them back into the arrangement, and you can see a lot of the editing that I did to it to make it fit back into the arrangement. But it keeps. It's a way of working that I've kind of started. No, not started. I've done it for quite a while, but I like the results. One thing that I wanted to point out. There's this channel here that I always call Time, and I started using this 3 years ago, maybe, or 4 years ago, and it's just a MIDI channel with different colors, but that's kind of my visual reference of the arrangement to keep things a bit more structured. And then I use all these recordings that I do stuff to bring the spontaneity into the sound. So, but a friend of mine told me that the new Ableton has you can change the colors of this area. I'm not saying that was my idea, but let's see. So back to recording stuff. This thing kind of goes on forever. It's 10 minutes long. But another thing that I did with this particular one, is this sound that's kind of like a big crash that happens every so often. And that's just the cymbal from the 808, but using that same trick or technique here in the beats section, and it's just reversed, and without it, it's just a big crash that you can hear. But with it on, it becomes kind of sounds like a guitar to me. There's a few other effects in there as well, but the point is, record. You know, in these clips, this is all different recordings from 808, and just playing different patterns. And I don't always use them for every. Maybe I do waste a little bit of time, end up having a lot of recording, but not really using them. But in the end, it gets cool sounds and you get cool results that you wouldn't get. You can't try to do it, you know? I don't know if that makes sense, but you can't like premeditate it, I guess. Yeah, so for this remix, sorry, there's some vocals in the original, and since it's a Lauterbach remix, we have vocals from my friend Gibby Miller. And for the vocals, let's see where they are here. I always have him record multiple tracks, you know, multiple times, because each time it'll be a little different phrasing, and it'll be a little bit of a different. There'll be a variation in his delivery, his intonation, and his enthusiasm, whatever. But from that, there's really interesting things that happen, and kind of like happy accidents, I guess, that give the vocals, I don't know if it's fair to say depth, but that give the vocals some cool effects. So let's see where they start here. So this part of where the vocals start, it's like just him breathing, or it's just random microphone noise that I thought was really cool. And then what starts happening
to go I want.
What starts happening is with these different takes. I don't know if his dogs come in the room or whatever, but he starts yelling, and it ends up being like one of the coolest parts of the vocals for me personally. And it gives it this kind of like, I don't know, live feeling.
I need to get away from here.
I don't know, yelling at the dog, whatever. But it's cool in the context of the track.
I want to get away from
what's the point anyway?
I need to get away from
So as you can see, I kind of just I always lay these vocals together, and then put them against my little color-coded timeline.
No one is out of
Fit them into the arrangement.
is out of touch.
You can see
No one is touching me. No one. Me. No one. Touch me. No one is out of touch.
and you can see that here, some of the effects and the gate and Gibby does not live in Berlin, or we don't share a studio, so he records all the stuff from Los Angeles, and I ended up piecing it back together here. So sometimes he has a bit of noise in his recording, and that's I use that gate for that, and a bit of EQing on there. Let's see what else. That's the vocal bit. So I'll start from the beginning of this track, I guess, and break some of the other stuff down. This bit here, and as you can see, it's not so long, but this goes back to recording stuff, and this is just a noise that's through my mixer in the studio, and I liked it. It's cool, and that became the kind of the intro. There, you can hear that. And it's just noise and some feedback and a little bit of compression. But all of these things give it the personal touch, whatever that is. No, but it gives it kind of a signature, like no one else has this studio noise, I don't think, in their studio. So it's one of those things that you can use to make it, to make it unique and to make it sound like make it your own, I guess. That sounds like it. Anyway, yeah. So let's see. For the kind of the foundation percussion for this, I use Machine a lot, and really happy with it. It's a great tool, and you can make good beats quite fast. But I just wanted to keep this kind of a straightforward, kind of a driving track, and let the vocals and let some of the weird synth things be the variation and be the kind of different parts of the track. Just let this play for a second and see if something interesting comes to mind. So one thing about the arrangement, since I play around a lot, sometimes too long, with the loops in the beginning, you get a sense of where you're going with the track from all that, and so I found myself building the arrangement in this page in the sense that you're getting your elements all together and how it's gonna unfold, and then you kind of reduce. So what I'll do a lot of times, once I've messed around for a while and got the elements that I think work together, when you get to a point like, okay, I don't think it's not necessary for there to be anything else going on in this track, I kind of copy everything over to the arrangement page, pretty straightforward, and do my editing after the fact, after it's all on this page. So I usually pick an arbitrary time, like, oh, this track will be, what did I say, 8 minutes and 30 seconds, and then edit backwards from there. I used to do it differently. I used to record things more from this side, thinking that it had more of a live feel to it. But in the end, I lost the structure of things, and it became more editing, and it became more of a pain than I felt that it was worth. So I started using this time concept, and I found it to be a bit more efficient. and I still maintain the, I guess the variation or the live feel because I'm recording different parts live and recording the audio, and then you go back and edit from that. So different approaches. I think it's whatever works. This seems to be working for me right now, so stick with it for a while. Yeah, I don't know what else I can speak of specifically on this. I guess for the bass line of this, I actually kept I kept the original bass line. I liked it and thought it worked well with my version of the track. I just did some simple editing in Ableton with the audio, so like no big deal. But by taking bits away in the beginning, later it kind of opens up and it's easy to make simple variations with the audio files. Yeah, what else? Let's let that play for a bit. So, yeah, that's the remix. I hope that was helpful. Please, any questions, I would love to answer them. As long as I can. Yeah, that's it, I guess, for now. Remixes. Here's the overview. Remixes, fun, sometimes exhausting, sometimes draining, but also cool. When you, I'm quite happy with this one. I think we retained the elements of the original track, but made it our own as well, which I always kind of feel that's a great solution if you can manage to do both those things. Yeah, so it's Thomas More remix. Comes out on Get the Curse. I'm not sure when. Soon. This is the Louderback remix of Thomas More, and yeah, I hope that was helpful at some point, and maybe enlightening somehow. Yeah, I will end on that. Thanks for giving me 20 minutes of your time.
A big thank you to Troy Pierce for showing us all how it's done and for giving us an insight into his work in the studio on Ableton Live and his forthcoming remix on French label Get the Curse. For you guys watching at home, it's also your chance to post your questions up. Any questions that you've got for Troy, just post them up in the comments, and Troy will be going through them and picking out one or two of the best ones to answer your question, and also to possibly follow it up with another video tutorial. Also, if you want to learn more about Ableton Live, more about music production or remixing, then head over to pointblankonline.net and check out the full range of courses that we offer. Also, keep locked to the Facebook page and Point Blank Plus for all the details of forthcoming masterclasses. And of course, we will be back next Friday for another edition of Friday Forum Live. So thank you guys for watching, and again, thank you to Troy for the tutorial. We'll see you very, very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.